Hello everyone. I have to let you know that this video is sponsored by MIDI Health, and I do receive commissions for any referrals to MIDI Health. The great thing is MIDI Health is for that second act that you're going through. They can assist women with perimenopause, menopause, weight loss, cancer and survivorship, hair and skin, and even sleep. The great thing is you don't have to go into an office. You can schedule your appointment and meet with a clinician directly from your home. All you have to do is go sign up, send an email, and they'll contact you for an appointment at trymidi.com/Celeste. And I'll put that link in the bottom. You'll be joining more than 200,000 women who trust MIDI Health with their second act. Connect with your MIDI clinician today. Hello, and I am back. Let me adjust my mic. It just feels like it's flopping around. It is flopping around. So let's get it here. Okay, I'm close enough. Hey, everybody. I am Celeste Jonay. Speak your truth, live with transparency. You will see the triumph. I don't know if you watched my last video, but I figured I'd go ahead and tell an end on it or add to it or what. I don't know. Add whatever. I kind of joked about, let me pause. If you didn't watch the introduction, I'm going to remind you this is not PG. It's not rated R, but it's truth, and just telling some of my stories, and yeah, just telling some of my stories about my life and my experiences, and I do that so you can tell yours without shame and guilt. I talked about in the last video an incident, and I talked about that I'd been in therapy. I think I've been like 4 times. Probably about to go back again, deal with some stuff. But and I don't have any shame about that. But I remember the first time that I went. And it's kind of funny to me. Well, when I get to the therapist part of it. But I was living in a city. I won't tell you where because I don't want you to judge this city. Um, but I was living in a city and I was in my 20s, 30s. I think I was in my late 20s. I don't remember, y'all. Maybe I was in my 30s. It's a blur to me at this point. At this point, it didn't even matter. But a friend and I had gone to a party. It was more like a get together. It wasn't a party. And we were hanging out and something happened and I got mad. And I knew where I was. I figured I wasn't far from home. So I made the intelligent decision at night to walk home. I figured, I have lived many places, seen many faces, and I just figured I'll be okay. I'll walk home. And as I was walking home, um, a car drove by, and I remember that car turned around. I had my purse and everything, and I'm laughing. I was laughing, but I'm gonna get to the point. And car pulled up beside me this way, stopped. Guy jumps out of the passenger's car, says to me, um, "Give me your purse." And it's really funny. I laugh at myself as I think about it. Trust me, for years I didn't laugh about it, but robbed me, wanted my purse, and I was like, "Can I please just get my driver's license and my keys out?" And he said, "Either you give it to me or." And I was like, I dropped everything, took a step back. He made me get on my knees, and I'm still here today. He got in the car and drove off. When I realized what happened, I ran to the closest door I could get to, knocked on the door, called the police. I couldn't tell them anything because it was dark. I didn't see his face. I couldn't describe him. None of those things. But I, being the person I am, that I'll be okay, I'll be fine, because that's the way I've lived my life, and that's what survival mode is. You think, I'm okay, it'll work out, I'll get over it. And we don't realize we don't really get over it until we actually deal with it. But I do believe that time helps. Anyway, moving on. So fast forward maybe a day or two. And then I'm telling this story, but I am going to go back. a day or two, I was getting up, I was going to work. I was talking to a young lady who was my best friend at the time, and we're still, we still together, whatever. But I remember talking to her, and I was like, "Hey, I'm doing such and such and such and such and such." And such. I told her about what had happened, and I said, "It's really weird." I said, "I'm up in the middle of the night. I'm laying on the floor, and I had a patio with the vertical blinds, and I would lay on the floor, and I would watch the cars go by." And I was checking my door several times a night. But I knew I was already OCD, so I just figured this is normal for me. And I shared some other things that I was doing, but I was going to work, doing my job, functioning fine. And I I can't remember how I got in my apartment or anything that day. But anyway, I don't remember that. Okay, I digress. And she said to me, "Celeste, do you have EAP at your job?" I said, "Yeah." And I mean, literally, yeah. She said, "I need you to call EAP right now. I'm going to hang up the phone. I need you to call EAP. I need you to call me right back. I need you to tell them everything you just told me." So I did. It's not clicking because I think I'm okay. I got on the phone, called EAP. They made an emergency appointment. Went to go see, either it was that same day or the next day, I can't remember. Called her back and let her know, I had an appointment, I was going in. So I went to my appointment, and I'll tell you what she said later. I went to my appointment, sat down with the therapist, and she was like, "Well, tell me about yourself. Tell me the things, whatever." So I told her from birth to up until this point, everything that had happened. The story I just had on my last video, and different things that had happened throughout my childhood. Because I don't think we do, think of so many of our experiences as traumatic because we're in survival mode and we know how to get up and keep moving. And that's what I knew to do. I have to catch myself now. But sat there after told her other stories. She said, "Celeste," and forgive me if I've shared this already, but she said, "Celeste, there are 3 levels." She said the first level, when you're not doing really not doing well, we check you into a psych ward, and we let you stay there for a while till you're better. She said the next level is we let you come to group therapy where you come in for half a day and then we let you go home. She said when you're really doing well, we do one-on-one individual therapy. I said, "Oh, okay." And she said, "Well, what level do you think you are?" And with a straight face, I said, "Individual therapy." She leaned forward and she said, "Celeste, you are not on an individual level. You're at level 3. If you do not go to your job tomorrow, tell your manager that you need to come to group therapy every day and that you will not be returning to work until you're released, I will check you into a psych ward today, right now." I sat back and to myself, I'm thinking, have I really lost my mind? I guess I had, but I thought I was normal. And I was like, "Okay, I'll go to work. I'll tell," because I did not want to be locked up. Lord, help me. Um, so I ended up going to work the next day, went into my manager's office, told him what was going on. And he was like, "Cool." We did the FMLA and all this other kind of stuff. Insurance took care of it. And I went to group therapy for a few weeks. And the only reason I stopped going was because the company I was working closed. So I didn't have any more insurance. But she said to me, if I did not finish my sessions, that I would be back in therapy. And I really did not believe her. But what I realized many, 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 many years later, I'm talking 10, 15 years later, was the mental shape I was in. And going back because of the situations in my childhood. Like I said, my childhood it was just, I don't know what to call it. It was I don't know. Sometimes I think maybe I just wasn't um, strong enough to deal with some of the situations I have been placed in as a child, some of the challenges that happened. I just figured I could not. Maybe I just didn't handle stuff because I felt like people had been through some of the same stuff I've been through and they seem to be doing just fine. But that's the irony. All my life, people have looked at me and thought I had it all together because that is a face I would put on. You weren't about to see me break down. No, I'll cry like a baby, whimper and whatever on my own at home with nobody watching. But people thought I had it together. They saw this person had gone to college, gotten a degree, was working a great job, doing this, and they thought I was just doing it. But I couldn't keep it together. And I would make sudden decisions and I would move because I was trying to get away from me. But everywhere you go, there you are. And I realized that. But going back, I didn't know I was bound for therapy, but my first, with therapy, I, um, I remember the first time I made the attempt to unlife myself. And I did that when I was 17. I was in high school. I don't think anybody in high school even knows. I hated high school. Um, I had, a couple of friends. I didn't fit in with the popular kids, but I didn't fit in quite with it was that I don't fit in. And I struggled with where I belonged um, more than anything. I always felt awkward no matter what. And for another video, talk about the bullying. I'd never felt like I fit in anywhere. And I just remember all the things people said and did. So I'd had enough. Um, I didn't feel like I belonged to my family. I didn't have friends. I was always alone. It was for me. I didn't know how to just be me and accept me for me. It was everybody was telling me who I should be, what I should do, yada, 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 wham, wham, wham. You know how it goes. I didn't have my own mind. I didn't have my own mind. And as a result, my first attempt was at 17 years old. And it didn't work. And I remember my mother coming to the room and she was like, "What's wrong with you?" And when I tell you I was sick, I was sick. And I had to tell her what was wrong because she was trying to make me go to school and I was not going to make it. By the grace of God, I'm still here. I believe that He spared me for a reason. I went on and I'm just trying to remember timelines. I guess that's when the next time I'd gone to therapy. Well, there was one other time in my life I made another attempt, which was a failed attempt. Ended up in therapy after the issue with the lady. Fortunately, let me go to group therapy. Um, and then there was a point where I moved to California. Ooh, sorry, I look at the time, y'all. I feel like I'm rambling. But I went to California and I was out there dealing with a mess of a situation there, which ended very horribly, very, put it this way. When I got there, all of that stuff came with me because everywhere you go, there you are. And then I was dealing with a very toxic situation from between him and a friend of mine. And the truth of the matter is, without mentioning this person's name, they were having an emotional affair. And I'm trying to deal with that and get my life together. And I just, again, feelings of, again, Celeste, you're not enough. You're not good enough. You're damaged goods. You see how he talks to you. There's something wrong with you. All those things kept playing in my head over and over. And I convinced myself. So I started, um, I'm trying to put this so YouTube won't take it down, but self-harming. I wasn't taking anything, but there were some other things that I was doing. And when you find people who do that, people don't understand it. Why would you do that to yourself? Because the simple way to put it is that pain on the outside feels so much better than the pain that's going on the inside. This heals and you can see it heal, but this seems to take forever to get right. And people don't understand that if they've never dealt with those kind of challenges. Um, and I'm thinking about this crazy stuff. Okay, I had another thought. I'll share that at the end if I remember. But I wasn't healthy yet mentally. I hadn't dealt with my stuff, and that's where I was. I eventually did. Actually, he put me out, but that's another story. Things got to the end. He and I got into it. She and I went our separate ways. Actually, I cut her off. That's the truth of the matter. And I left. I moved out. I got my man. I'm just thinking about the domino effect of everything. And if you don't think things are connected, things are connected. Whew, Lord. Okay, I just need him. Just give me a second. Whew, okay. But I did. I was gone. I left him. Eventually, I had to leave the state because he would not leave me alone. He put me out, but he wouldn't leave me alone. So I did everything. I changed jobs. I sold, got a new car. But I eventually left the state. But the truth of the matter is, even though I stopped that behavior, I had moments I was like, why am I still here? And I didn't understand it. I still, I'm in a better, trust me, I know why I'm here. I know my purpose. I know everything and I understand it and I'm grateful. But the truth of the matter is, even after I left California, I think by that time I was in my late 30s, I was still struggling because um, I didn't know who I was. And the scary part is, and I'm going to talk about that too, I had a relationship with the Lord, but it was still that everybody was telling me what my relationship with, the Lord was supposed to be like. My relationship with Yahweh, my relationship with Yeshua, how was I supposed, what I was supposed to do. And it's just too many doggone voices in your head. So loud you can't hear his and you can't even hear your own. And I just wanted the voices to stop. I just wanted the voices to stop. And I didn't know how to make them stop. Everybody, not everybody, I've run into people where there's like, just don't care. I don't care. Yeah. Okay. I'm glad I was not there yet. I had become such a people pleaser that those voices could easily seep in. I wanted my mother to be proud of me. I wanted my father to want me. I wanted for men to be attracted to me. I wanted a group of girlfriends. I wanted this ideal life in my head. And all I could believe at the time was I wasn't good enough. I didn't do it right. I wasn't perfect enough. I didn't fit the mold. And that bothered me. And I just felt like if I could just fit the mold, everything would be good. It's a lie. Um, it's a lie. It took me a long time. And I'm telling you, my breaking point was when my husband divorced me. I didn't ask for the divorce. That's another story for another day. But I don't have any shame. He divorced me. I was trying to work it out. It just, I guess, some buttons I pushed. Anyway, I don't blame him. We're both responsible, and I'll leave it at that. Um, but it was all the voices in my head because even in my marriage, it's like I'm just not. It doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter how hard I try. It doesn't matter how much I compromise. It doesn't matter how submissive I am. It just was not working, and I kept thinking, darn, what is wrong with me? That was in 2017. I moved out. By 20, and I spent 2017, half of 2018, I'm going to say the whole doggone a year on the floor crying. I wanted my marriage. But I kept thinking, I'm so damaged. I'm so broken. I'm so jacked up. Nobody's ever going to want me. I'm never going to fit in. So previously, my solution was things that I did through my depression. And that's what it is. I was a functional depressant. Nobody at work knew what I was going through. To the point where people didn't even know I was going through divorce because I went in with faith. You weren't going to know. And that's why people have always assumed I have it together because that's how I learned to survive. Um, I didn't need another voice in my head. Oops, excuse me. I'm sorry. I don't know if that burp came out, but by the time after my marriage, that's when things began to turn around for me. And I know you've seen that video of everything because that, I talk about after my marriage, I worked for I worked for FedEx and left and did all this other kind of stuff. But I found myself through the stumbling, even in coming back to Memphis and thinking nothing's coming together. I can't get my job back. I'm not getting a job. My bills are behind. They're going to take my car. I'm going to get evicted. Just going through all those things. And it's not like like I say, my money situation is, still in a situation where my income does not meet my outgo, whatever. My income is less than my expenses. But we're about to remedy that because the lease is almost up. Okay, I'm sorry. I should have said that. But anyway, but I'm still here. But I realized after that I just needed to get to know me. I needed to learn how to be okay with me. That I am, and I said in the last video, I am not damaged goods. Instead of asking what is wrong with me, I changed it. And I said, what is right with me? Because when I went to Atlanta and a couple of men approached me and I would go out and talk with them on the phone, you know what's right with me? People say I'm bougie. I'm not bougie. I might be, anyway, I was going to say Sophisticated Ratchet Country Hood. Don't buy, I got that on the shirt, Country Hood, don't take it. But the truth of the matter is I have standards and I learned and I have boundaries. I realized I had spent all that time criticizing and hurting myself because I wanted people to like me. And they did as long as I did what they told me. But if I felt like the moment I did something that wasn't right, and I wasn't perfect, and I did make a lot of mistakes with people, but I could feel a shift. And I was like, I love people in spite of. You could stab me in the foot and slap me, and I'm still going to try to find a way to be your friend, to help you, to support you. That does not happen anymore. Okay, so, but I realized there was a lot right with me. I have standards. When I came back here, I started setting boundaries for me. And I got accused of stuff. And as a matter of fact, there's somebody who said something as she was hanging up the phone. She doesn't know I heard her, but I heard you. And I'm thinking to myself, I know who I've been to you. Not only her, but others as well. What I have not been is perfect. What I have not been is at your beck and call. Because I made the decision when I learned to love myself, because that's who I had to love. I dated myself. I went places, and I've never been afraid of going out by myself. But I deliberately got to know Celeste. What is Celeste like? That's why I'm in the film industry. I realized, and I talk about how I used to dance and sing and perform, and I got in the theater. That I loved. It's like, it's breath to me. It is oxygen for me. When I was working on the set, for the 10 days. It was like 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. I get in the bed and get up and do it over again. But it was life for me. I love it. It was effortless to be there. I didn't have to fight myself to get up and go. I learned who I was. I got to know me, not the person everybody else said I was. or who they assumed I should be and where I should be in my life at this point. Even like the commentary I've gotten, you shouldn't have done this. I am not about to wake up or stand before, and because I do believe, before Yahweh, Yeshua, whoever's going to be at the gate meeting me, and say, I was afraid of what they thought about me. I was afraid to take a chance. I just couldn't do it. I'm not doing it. I am not waking up even tomorrow morning, if it is the Lord's will, and wondering what if. So I took the time to get to know me and find out what I love, not what you thought I should love. And that's where we can find ourselves. You're not going to be happy 24 hours a day because things happen, but there's still a joy at the base of it. I have that joy because I got to know myself. I do what makes Celeste happy. If you don't like it, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes it hurts my feelings, but I don't bend to anybody's will anymore except for one. That's just who I am. Get to know yourself. I don't know where you are, what situation you are in. Get those voices out of your head. They're saying bad things about you. That is not from heaven. That is not from the Lord. That is not what the word says. He says you are wonderfully and fearfully made. He says he knows the numbers of hairs on your head, just like he knows each star in the sky. He is concerned about the intricate details of your life. And it may not seem like it, but he does. And he don't show up when you want to, and he will be quiet, but it's faith building. And that's what I've gone through. But I love my life. I love my life. I don't have the money that I want to have, but I am in my mind. And there are days I'm like, Celeste, you are rich. You are beautifully rich. I have good people in my life. I have people who support me. I have people I laugh with. They may be friends, they may be associates. Everybody's got a position. But that's what it is. Love you first. I don't care if you walk around with purple polka dots. Love you first. Find things every day that you like about yourself. Find things every day that you love about yourself. Discover things that you love to do. Even if it's just, it doesn't have to be a job or whatever, just anything. You like to paint, paint. You like to draw, draw. You like to sit quietly in the mornings for 15 minutes, and that's your love. Do what you love and find the things that you love about yourself because you are not damaged goods. You are not. You are wonderfully and fearfully made. You are beautiful. So that's where I had to get to, and that's where I am. Yeah, honestly, that's it. But I wanted to share that because there are people out there in that situation, and they're still there today. Whatever is causing it, get some help. I always say that, but release it and kick every voice in your head. Kick it out. They are taking up rental space that they are not paying for, and all it's doing is dragging you down. When a voice says, "Oh, you're not good enough," I hope this is not bad, but let me tell you, I'm not a psychologist or counselor. I'm not licensed, but this is what I have done. When I've gotten in those spaces and I started saying to myself, "Oh God, I messed up. Oh, shoot, I'm stupid." I catch myself, and I have to, before I let the words come out, because the thoughts will come. I have to capture that thought and say, "You know what? Yeah, I made a mistake, but the world did not come to an end. I'm not perfect, but I am perfectly me. We're all flawed. Don't allow those negative thoughts, those negative voices, those things that people said about you. Don't believe them. Love yourself. Talk to yourself with kindness and love and grace. None of us are perfect. And as I say, we all have something we do not want Jesus to know. So, that's my story about going through depression and on life. Yeah. And I still have bad days and I have to catch myself. But I'm not in that deep, dark place. It's like, girl, get over it. It'll be all right. And recently, I want to tell this one last thing. I know this is like much longer than I usually do, but it's interesting because yesterday I woke up and my brain was quiet. I can't remember the last time that happened, but my brain was quiet and I was working, having a hard time being motivated doing my job. But I just clocked out about 3:38 and I went and laid down and I slept so well that I snored and woke myself up. Yes, it happens. But my brain was so quiet. I felt present with myself for the first time in a long time. And since I've had that feeling, I can't let it go. But I believe it's because I'm beginning to release, let things, how do I say it? I'm letting people, places, and things go. And I'm focusing on my needs instead of everybody else's. That's what I do. I can't tell you how to do it, how to get better. All right. I am Celeste Jonay. Speak your truth. Live with transparency. You will see the triumph.